Daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play. Option Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Troy. Good morning, everybody.
Hope you guys are doing well today. Straight away, I mistimed this whole thing. Dan, do me a solid for 2 minutes here.
Yeah.
Will you tell a story to Tom? I assume Tom's listening. This one's just for Tom. Will you give Tom a story about your time in the trading pits?
Yes.
I'm going to go grab my dog.
All right, go ahead, Troy. All right. Good morning, everybody. I will give a quick story from the pits, and I'll give my 2 cents. It might only be worth a cent, but I'll give my 2 cents on this week and the what's going on this week in the market, and some maybe some good ideas or bad ideas. I don't know, but you know, when you think about the pits, a lot of it is just. And I think one of the reasons ladies didn't maybe have as much fun in the pits, because it's like to me it was an extension of high school, where most of the day, the 6 hours, it wasn't busy all day. Just like, you know, are you guys busy all day trading? No, but we couldn't leave the pit because you don't know when the orders come in. So you had this, you know, you're sitting there talking like you're in high school, talking sports or whatever. All day, and it can get childish pretty quick, and so it was a lot of you know, just immaturity, just you know, would come out very dramatically, you know, even but the most of it, I would say, I think I might have said this before for those who didn't hear the story, but so Tom might have already heard this, but when I was in the Micron pit, MU, we were a specialist. There's 2 types of people in the pits, market makers and specialists. Specialists, we were a specialist. I worked with the Nigerian brothers, Jen and Pete, used to be on CNBC Fast Money. And so we were the ones responsible, supposedly, for keeping law and order in the pit and bringing business in. You know, Micron, just like many other stocks before and now, would trade on multiple exchanges. So you're competing for the business, and the way you compete for the business, I'm just a third. I'm not even get you.
No, I love it.
If you want to go back, yeah. So when we were in the pit talking about, I think I've told the story, but kind of a cool hand Luke story. We were a specialist in the pit. Troy, I can't compete if I'm telling a story with the beautiful dog there.
He wanted to be on video for 6
Oh,
seconds.
he's great. Back to the couch. I love it. He goes right back to the couch.
Me.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're so in the pits, in the Micron pit, as I said, there's specialists and there's market makers. And the specialist, you say, well, our job is to keep the markets tight so we can get the orders from the other exchanges, New York or San Francisco. But the other thing so what Pete Nigerian and myself were in the pit. Pete was the head trader in the Micron pit, and I was in the back of the pit because Micron was just really busy. And this was 25 years ago, before AI. But one day when it's slow, well, what do? You talk a lot of goofiness, right? These are just guys hanging around, sports or bets. And this guy, Barry, was a clerk for one of the brokers there. And, you know, young hustler, out of college, trying to make a buck, working his way up the system. And he says, you know, I could eat whatever, 7 eggs in 2 minutes or whatever. And, at first, everybody just kind of listens. And then Barry keeps talking. And finally, one of the traders says, I'll bet you 100 you can't. And so the minute that started, all this fervor started going. And the next thing you know, traders from other pits were coming. So you've got probably 20 people there. And one of the kids in the pit was taking, okay, this guy's betting 104. He's betting 100 again. There must have been $5,000 of bets on whether Barry. And so next thing you know, just like the movie Cool Hand Luke, was it George Montgomery? I forget who it was that was Luke's trainer in doing the eating the eggs. They took Barry up to the traders lounge. Everybody circled around him and he had 12 eggs or whatever. And whatever the time period was, and he was a little cocky. He started out 6 eggs quickly. He looked good. By the 8th egg, by the 9th egg, the face was changing complexion. And then by the 12th egg or whatever, most of it came out, right? And it was like thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. I was left there kind of massaging his shoulders. Barry, it's okay. You gave it your best shot, right? You gave it your best shot. And then we went back to the pit. And it just, so in a way, people say, what do you miss about the pits? It's not the trading it was really the lifestyle. You can't, most of the people who were trading, I don't think they could function at a normal job, right? I know I couldn't. And that was that. Now, real quick transitioning from Cool Hand Luke. If you haven't seen Cool Hand Luke, you can go see the movie. But this week with, this, Troy, wouldn't you say, per quarter, this is one of your kind of Super Bowl type days. Right?
I call it the Super Bowl of trading for traders.
Yeah, for the week. You have FOMC today in the early afternoon. And then, it's the tale of two. Isn't there a book, Tale of Two Tapes or Tale of Two Cities or whatever?
Tale of Two Cities, yeah.
Okay, thank you. You have Monday, Tuesday, half of the day today, relatively under control. And then you have the last couple hours today, Thursday and Friday. You have a lot of catalysts on the board, right? The catalysts, the main catalyst tonight, Meta, Tesla, Microsoft comes out with earnings after the close. I think IBM, then Starbucks, I think tomorrow morning before the opening. So it's really tomorrow, right? A little bit at the end of the day today. And I'm not saying it can't move at the end of the day. But they're not expecting anything, right? No decreases or increases with the Fed rate. So, and then Thursday night, you have Apple, Visa, MasterCard. Then you have earnings a couple of weeks after that. So you say, what would you do? I mean, for range-bound traders, if I didn't have anything new on, right? Again, you want to back test, it's different. With back test, you can go back and that's the wonderful thing, which, when we talk about these things, I don't remember the last 5 or 6 days, these periods. And that's wonderful with a back. You can go back, right? You can test this week or this, you can go back and test all this. And that's what I would recommend people do because it's funny. I'll talk in a class today and I'll say, hey, do you guys remember last month even on this big day, or whatever, the last one? Nobody remembers, right? We have such a, so that's why I think the data is good. But the point is, I think RICs, I was looking at RICs that expose, RICs that expire on Friday, because I think, what I like about, one thing I like about RICs, many things I like. You're just combining 2 vertical spreads. I'm going to talk briefly on that at the beginner class today at 11. Just because it's using vertical spreads. But what I like about it is you generally need less than the expected move, like maybe 25% less than the expected move to make money. It's not like I need this big kahuna move. No, if the expected move for, the expected move for Friday is 75 points, right? Because you have all these catalysts. So they're saying a 68% probability we'd be up 75 or down 75 from where we're at now. Well, with a RIC, you might only need, the way you can set it up, 40 points. or 50 points. Now you could do a 0 day today, which is fine. You could do a 1 day that expires tomorrow or one Friday. I did a 10 wide one yesterday. I call it more wimpier. It's cheaper. It was like $5, but you got till Friday. But these are, and the way I look at these is, again, because here's the thing. If you ask anybody, Troy, wouldn't you say, hey, from where we closed last night, 69.80, do you think it's a decent chance that we can, I'm not saying where we finish at the end of the day Friday, that we can move 50 points? You'd say no problem, right? And that's but remember, with a Rick, it's a positive gamma trade. So the way I would trade it more, and I know Matt's talked about this, like how did he say that, Troy? Like grouping each leg. So you could, if it goes up, right, at some point, right, look for a specific, but if I can make, 20, 30% on the whole thing, just selling the call spread, where you'd make 30% on the call spread, then you leave the put spread if we go back the other way, right? That's just, and Matt made a good point, testing, it can or can't be better, but I think those are good. I think with the 16 vol coming into, we should be opening around 16 VIX, maybe a little bit higher, but I think that's fine for a lot of these double type trades. I put a double long diagonal on yesterday, and all that is your, when you look at a double calendar, your longs are at the same strike as your short, right? In a double long diagonal, it's the same as a double calendar, but your longs are a little bit inside your shorts. And you say, how does that impact the trade, Dan? Generally, you can handle a price move a little better because you're going to have a lower negative gamma, right? But you can't have your cake and eat it too. You're going to have more Vega risk if we're wrong and the volatility goes down. But I like double long diagonals if I'm expecting a move and the volatility is reasonable. You say, what's reasonable? I would say 16 or lower. But, I think it's, last thing, Troy, if I could say, one thing I always recommend when you have big catalyst days, right? I always do a fire drill. I used to do this in the pit. Fire drill. I used to do a fire drill every day. You say, what's a fire drill? A fire drill is before you go home at the end of the day, look at your positions. Are you happy with the deltas? Are you happy with the Greeks? Could you handle, especially on days like today, can your position handle, what's the movie with Jack Nicholson? Can you handle the truth? Can you handle a 50-point move, right? Can your, and because here's the problem, and I'm not saying ignore the back test because you want to go with the back test, but you could have a double calendar on, right? Or something like that, right? Try but if it's already, let's say 30 minutes before the Fed comes out, you're way past you're like past the short strike a little bit on one side. You're not in the middle, right? If you're in the middle coming into some catalyst, you're fine. But if you're too far, you want to just, these are the environments where you don't want to be sloppy, right? I don't want to have, because it can move, right? But anyways, those are my 2 cents. I see the dog. The dog wants to give you a smooch, it looks like.
Yeah, this dog. Listen, have you ever seen Young Frankenstein with Gene Wilder?
Oh, sure.
No, Brett. There's a scene. It's one of my favorite comedy scenes in a movie of all time. And it's Gene Wilder. And he says basically, he's talking to his assistants and he's saying, I want you to lock me in the room with Frankenstein. And no matter what ghastly sounds you hear, no matter what screams or moans, like I want you to keep me in the room with him because only love is going to unlock this giant, And he gets in the room and the Frankenstein's sleeping and he wakes up. And as soon as Frankenstein wakes up, he kind of screams and Gene Wilder turns around and starts banging on the door saying, it was a joke. It was a joke. That's literally my impression of my dog. He wanted to go out this morning. He's basically saying like, hey, there's acreage in the back. I need to run. I need to stretch my legs. Please let me out for a little bit. Please let me run. Literally gets out there, and 1 minute later is like, why do you hate me? Why are you trying to kill me? I get him back inside. He's just sitting here over and over again. Just wanted to go out. Anyway.
Oh, like he wants to go out again?
He wants to go out again. He didn't get enough of his 1 minute of just screaming at me to come back in.
That's
so anyway, listen, it's a fun day. FOMC is going to be fun. Dan, I mean, I love to just make people do predictions, especially when they're neutral traders like you. So, what's your predict? Let me ask you this. Forget today. Do you think Monday morning we wake up firmly over 7,000 or firmly under 6,900? And chat, tell me your thoughts too, because I've been predicting so hard. I'd love to hear some other predictions.
Yeah. First of all, I want to make it clear. Whatever I say, I think if you back test in terms of my directional picks, if we could back test it, just like back testing maybe some of Kramer's ideas, at least initially, right? You're better off fading what I say. But I always have a little bit of contrarian in me. So, I mean, as I look at here, we're near, I mean, you could say this every 2 days, right? But we're near just as I say all the time in the pitch, you could also say we are near all-time highs, right? You could say that every week for most of the last year, we are at all-time highs. But being with us near at the 7,000 level, I look at every trade right now, at least in the world of range bound, I definitely want more room on the downside, right? It's like the upside. I don't think it's running away on us, right? I don't think SPX is going to be gold on the upside or platinum or something like this, right? I mean, this is like a 12-ton elephant, right? SPX is kind of grinding up, and I'm not saying I'm not scared, but I'm not as frightened where I want more room on the downside. That to me, and it's not that, if you said, what's the path of least resistance? It's up, but it's okay. It's easier to manage trades on the upside. Downside, things can get hairy really quick, right? And so I'm more looking at using rallies for getting a little bit of range bound delta that would either a little bit short or a little bit long vega or something that would benefit on the downside. So just kind of picking more like yesterday, like in the upside, using that as an opportunity to get a little bit short. And I'm not talking like, a million delta short, like, even 1 delta short or something that can handle a 1.5% move on the downside. I just think that, but I also think, I'm looking from a trading, I don't look as much like, okay, sure, like on earnings stuff, you can take a shot, right? You can do verticals. We're going to talk about that in the 11 o'clock class. You can do verticals for $1, right? And that's where beginners should, if they want to play that game. But I think in terms of picking direction, I'd rather go long gamma. And if we have a 16 VIX, instead of picking, are we going up or down? I have no idea. But do I think we could be we could move, right? Somewhere in the next, let's look at the expected move. Yeah, we definitely could move. And so I think putting on some kind of RIC or ratio back spread or something that can get you some benefit if we move, right? I think, as Romeo says, if we all predict down, we'll be up. I told you in the pits, we used to have guys do this a lot. Guys would come, when it was slow, you had different pits. Guys would come from pit to talk, but really what they were doing is, what do you guys think? We think the market's going up. Next pit, we think it's going up. What do you think? Next, it's going up. They'd walk over to the OEX pit, the precursor of SPX, and they'd go buy puts. I mean, it's so contrarian. I mean, you look at, I love Tom Sosnoff, but he's the classic, and I'm the same, but like Tom is classic, contrarian, right? If we're up 3 days, 4 days in a row,
oh yeah,
boom. He's not looking at, okay, Whereas the retail people, they look differently. Retail people spend an awful inordinate amount of time on news and charts and all this stuff. I'm
Are
just telling
aliens
you,
real?
right? Our alien, well, and
Pizza, pizza.
market makers spend a lot of time on aliens, Troy.
Yeah.
I mean, we love conspiracy, but I'm saying market makers never. It was more not that some wanted to further their education and learn that, but I think market makers were more. It wasn't which way. It was they would put on long gamma or contrarian, and that's how Tom Sosnoff more contrarian. And but I think if you can be contrarian, but I do think looking at charts is a helpful tool, right? Yeah. Because it's kind of that self prophesying type thing. But anyways,
now listen, Tom's thing of under 6,000, please. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you. If we open Monday under 6,000, the show is canceled for
the show is canceled. Troy is on an island, and
Papa's got some vacation time built up, some PTO time, as they say. Yeah. So, anyway, listen, chat, that was awesome. Rob, Maria, if the herd goes left, I go right. If you sell premium, why not sell where there are no other sellers? Listen, I mean, there's people with edges and there's people that have skill sets and things like that. And so I think you guys are definitely one of the peoples with the skill sets of selling. I can't sell a spoon to a spoon maker. Wait. Well, you get
I like where you're going with that.
You get what I'm trying to say. Analogies have never been really my thing. So anyway, listen, Dan, I want to show a feature off real quick.
Yeah.
And we released something last night. I think it's pretty cool. And let me share it real quick. And I'm going to use an example from Alex. Shout out Alex. Put in this in the Fix My Back Test section. So can you see this, Dan?
Oh, yeah, neat.
Okay. So this is just a put credit spread, right? It's a 50 wide, 20 delta put credit spread. I literally looked 2 seconds at the strategy. Okay. But here's the feature that is being shown off here. You'll notice this little thing in parentheses that says no breakout. And so for a while, people have been asking us, it's cool to test breakouts, but is there a way to test when it doesn't break out?
Logical. Yeah,
to do the opposite. And so how you do this is you go down to use opening range breakout, and you set the end time for the range you're looking at. And then the breakout condition can be high and low, high only, low only, or no breakout, which is the new condition.
All right.
And so basically what it's playing, Dan, is things that's like, hey, we're just literally sitting in a range all day. Right. Or the first hour hasn't moved, or the second hour hasn't moved. It's a way to test non-movement as opposed to movement. So I'm gonna put this link in the show chat here, just so you can play around with the feature. If you didn't know that existed, that now exists. And shout out Alex for that example. Put and Fix My Back Test last night. So
89.5% win rate.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I really didn't even spend too much time on the validity of the test. I was excited that someone was testing something with a new feature, so I wanted to look at that. But Dan, I mean, that's if you're a range person, that lends itself. What's interesting is the type of strategies you can both counter and not counter. So for instance, if you're like a premium seller, you might think, well, that's a great strategy, or a great feature, like to be able to test non-movement, to put something on.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. I mean, I was thinking of for those who didn't see, when I interviewed Tammy a couple months ago, I did an interview. And one of the questions I was asking her, if you go on the interview, and Tammy is very out, she doesn't hide anything. She'll tell you exactly. And that's she's as good at interview because she's just a straightforward. I was thinking of doing another interview with her because she is so honest and knowledgeable. But when I was talking to her, I said, so when do you put these things on? And she said, as far as the iron condor, she says, I'll watch it for a couple hours. And she's watching the range, right? And if I remember, I'd have to go back and listen to it, but something like, I might start at 11 or 11:30. Well, it kind of goes along with this test, right? With the orb saying, if we're not really breaking it, if it looks like more of a range day, that could almost confirm to her or to people maybe doing 0-day selling puts, selling calls, whatever. It's like a confirmation of a range day. Am I overstretching what that means, the orb thing, or would that?
No, I think that's basically what it is saying like for instance, if that one was I think 10:30, but you could say literally, here's an example, just something to test. I don't know if this will work. I don't know if it's a terrible idea or a good idea. You could say end of day, I'm going to set that range 9:30 to 3:30. Okay. If we've stayed in that range all day, I'm going to sell a one DTE 20 Delta Condor and put it on at 3:30. And basically you're just saying, I think we'll probably stay in the range again.
Troy, could you do something like, all right, so this is basically sniffing to see if there's a breakout on the upside, right?
No, this is basically saying if there's no breakout.
Right, if there's no breakout to a particular direction, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is as a range-bound trader, I would, am I thinking this right? I would like maybe, okay, can you set two of them? Like if there's no breakout to the downside or upside, right? That kind of, hey, then it's range bound.
No, that's what it is. Is like if you're not breaking out, no breakout just simply means if you're not breaking out to the downside or upside.
Oh, so that breakout feature is taking both sides. I thought it was just upside.
Oh, no, it's both sides.
What signifies that it's both sides?
Well, you got high and low, high only, low only. No breakout just means it hasn't the end date range, that time, like 3:30 p.m. If I did that, it's basically saying from 9:30 to 3:30, we just stayed in the same range all day.
Oh, I got you. So it's both sides.
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't like, I think, Matt, or you have done like an upside breakout. This is
that's breakout. This is a new feature, which is like no breakout. Like,
oh, okay, I liked it. I mean, this would be like you would think this would be great for 0-day sellers, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see it. So basically, what I'm going to do, I'm going to test just something real quick, just an example. So I'm saying at 3:30 end time. So basically 9 open to 3:30. If we have not broke out of the range of that time frame, by 3:30, I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. I'm going to say, PM to just make a little range here, 35 PM. I'm going to sell this 1 Delta put spread. And I don't think I have anything else. Okay, I'm going to run this just year to date just to show this. Hey, trade of the year, baby. Trade of the with its 10 Delta data points.
What did you do on this one? Did you say 1 Delta, I thought, or what did you say?
20 Delta. So basically what I'm saying is if you can see it in the trade log.
Yeah.
If we've just been in the same range all day, like we from 0 to 3:30, we've just been in a range all day, right? We basically are saying, let's just sell some premium for the next day, 20 Delta put.
I got you.
And so to basically to show the difference here, like it would be like if instead of the no breakout, if you said, oh, we're going to do that only if we go to the low, if we break out to the low range. So if we've been in a range up to 3:30 and after 3:30, we break out to the low side, I'm going to run a test. Right? So this is just the opposite. It's saying basically if you didn't do that, if you just stayed in the range that was the range all day, you put a trade on.
I got you.
So it's a range. It's basically a range finder. It's not going to give you the edges, but it's going to basically say, yeah, we've been in range. Haven't really done anything.
Well, yeah, I think I could see a lot of use for this. I mean,
yeah. So it's something that people really wanted to test, and so we're happy to put it in there and let people cook a little bit.
Oh, so that was requested for a while, that feature.
Yeah, people. I mean, listen, Offshore Mega fans, they love it, and so they love putting requests in, and so we do it. It is a great hedge for Troy's Iran trade. Tom, shout out. So
Troy's Iran trade.
Anyway, listen, I've got it.
Hey, real quick, is there anything on the any bit of information on the whole Iran thing? It's been quiet.
I'm not going to give my sources away, but I will say this.
Down at the gas station.
I will say this. I received a message from someone with what I would call a little bit of intel, and I'm not going to release it at this point. And so I'm pretty excited about it.
I like it. And you can't just like Deep Throat and Watergate, you cannot disclose the source.
No. Yeah, we certainly don't. We don't. We protect our sources.
All right.
So, but listen, I hope you guys have a great day. I appreciate you. Play around with the feature, test it, see what it does. We'll put documentation out and all that stuff if it's confusing. These things could be confusing sometimes, so no worries. Hope you have a great trading day. FOMC, be careful. Don't play stupid. Play appropriate. And we will see you at 11 for options beginners, looking at some spreads. It'll be fun.
Earnings.
So, all right, guys, we'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.